You carry one in your pocket. A small piece of cut brass. You slide it into a door, give it a quarter turn, and a heavy bolt slides back. No screen, no battery, just metal meeting metal in the dark. So how does a flat key with a few jagged teeth tell a lock that you are allowed in? Tonight we slice one open and watch the secret happen. Here is the lock, frozen and peeled apart. On the outside, a solid brass shell, the housing. Set inside it, a smaller cylinder that can spin, the plug. The keyway is the slot running down its center, the channel your key slides into. Drilled across the top are a row of tiny chambers, each holding a stack of little pins and a spring. That is the whole machine. A cylinder inside a cylinder, pinned in place. Look closely at where the plug meets the housing. There is a perfect circular seam between them, a hairline gap called the shear line. For the plug to turn, nothing solid can cross that line. It is the rule the whole lock is built around. Think of two stacked cards that must slide past each other. If even one pin bridges the seam, the plug is jammed and the key will not turn. Clear the line and it spins free. Each chamber holds two pins, stacked one on the other. The lower one is the key pin. It rests on the keyway and feels the key. Above it sits the driver pin with a spring pressing the pair downward. With no key in the slot, the spring shoves both pins low. The driver pin drops halfway into the plug, straddling the shear line, half in the plug and half in the housing. Like a bolt thrown across two doors, it locks them together. So picture the lock at rest, untouched. Every driver pin is pushed down by its spring, and every one of them pokes across the shear line into the housing above. 5 little posts, all crossing the seam at once. Try to turn the plug now and it barely budges. The pins act like pegs jammed through both cylinders. The lock is not clever here. It is simply blocked, in 5 places at the same time, waiting. Now slide the key in. Look at its jagged top edge. Those teeth are not random. Each notch is cut to a precise depth, and each one lines up under a single pin. As the key glides into the keyway, every tooth lifts its key pin by exactly that much. A deep cut lifts a pin a little, a shallow cut lifts it a lot. The ragged profile of the key is really a row of measured heights, one per chamber. Here is the moment everything is built for. When the right key is fully seated, each key pin rises to just the correct height, and the gap between the key pin and the driver pin lands exactly on the shear line. Do that in every chamber at once, and a clean, unbroken seam appears all the way around the plug. Nothing crosses it anymore. The pins are still there, still under spring pressure, but the line between cylinders is suddenly clear. With the seam clear, you turn the key. The plug finally rotates inside the housing, carrying the key pins around with it, while the driver pins ride along the top, riding on the smooth edge of the turning plug. At the back of the plug, a small tail, called the cam, swings around too. That cam is hooked to the bolt in the door. As the plug spins a quarter turn, the cam drags the bolt out of the frame. The door opens. So why does your key open your door and nothing else? It comes down to the pattern of pin heights. A typical lock has 5 or 6 chambers, and each pin can be cut to one of several depths. Multiply those choices together, and you get thousands of possible combinations. The wrong key lifts the pins to the wrong heights, so the seam never lines up, and the plug stays frozen. Your key is just one number, written in brass that the lock recognizes. But this elegance has a soft spot. The chambers are not machined perfectly. One is always a hair wider than the rest. A lockpicker leans gently on the plug, then nudges each pin with a thin tool, feeling for the one that catches first. Set that pin at the shear line, and the plug twists a microscopic amount, trapping it. Work pin by pin, and the lock can open with no key at all. The same precision that protects it can betray it. Step back and think about how many of these you trust every day. Your front door, your car, a bike chain, a desk drawer, a padlock on a gate. Each one is the same quiet idea. A row of springs and pins, holding a seam shut until the right pattern arrives. No electricity, no software to update. Just shapes that fit or do not. A whole world held closed by a few grams of brass cut to the right heights. So here is the whole journey, start to finish. The key slides in, and its teeth lift each key pin to a set height. When every cut is right, all the little gaps line up along the shear line, and the seam goes clear. Free at last, the plug rotates inside the housing. Its cam swings around behind it and pulls the bolt out of the door frame. 5 springs, a handful of pins, 1 matching pattern, and you are inside. That is the pin tumbler lock, sliced open and laid bare. Springs, pins, and a single hidden seam. If you enjoyed watching this everyday object give up its secret, stay with us. Next time we will pick another quiet machine you walk past without a thought and slice it open too. Look closer at the ordinary. There is always a mechanism waiting underneath. Thanks for watching The Cutaway.